Hi everyone, this is Heather, the medium on a mission, and I wanted to do some full moon videos, and so I'm going to kind of continue on with the path of doing the monthly videos, so I will have August coming out soon, but I also wanted to do the full moon. I just always feel like there's so much influence around the full moon, and I know I personally feel it as well, and so we have the full moon. It's the full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn that's going to be occurring on July 16th. And so with that, I just wanted to do some videos for the signs, the 4 elements. And so I'm not going to do the individual ones for the moon signs, but for these in particular, I'll just do the elements. And so just wanted to give kind of the same overview in terms of just some of the things that are going on. The influence could be, it could last quite a while, up to about 6 months, or in some cases longer than that. And so because the full moon brings about shifts, obviously things don't happen overnight, right? It's a progression into those things. And so with that, I just wanted to kind of give some insights in terms of some of the things that might be occurring for each of the elements. This Capricorn full moon really focuses on kind of your vocation versus the emotions and those type of things. So are you doing something that fulfills you? Is there some shifts that you can make in terms of your what you do for a living, how you earn your money, those type of things. So that's what we'll be covering off on, and I'll do it for the 4 various elements, and we'll just see what Spirit has to say. Oh, and we're also in Mercury retrograde right now, so I just think that when there's a full moon with the retrograde, it's always a little bit emphasized in some ways, and so I know I can feel it myself in the people I interact with, and the people, there's just a lot of kind of things going on in terms of the energies, and so I just thought, I felt compelled to start doing these moon videos. Just whenever I feel kind of the impact of what's going on, I think it's really good supplemental information to the monthly videos. So I hope you enjoy, and with that, we will get started with fire signs. So fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And I'm just going to tune in to see what Spirit has to say. And again, I'll be using my cards. These ones are a bit smaller. I kind of redid my cards from the July videos and made them a little bit more palm size because I do have smaller hands, so it sometimes makes it easier for me to manage the cards. And so I'll just kind of, I'm still in kind of the piloting of the cards and seeing how I feel about them, but so far I've really resonated with their energy. Obviously, creating them, I kind of pull what I'm getting, and the beautiful thing is Spirit speaking to me more so and really giving me the shorthand. So just, there you go. So we'll be using my cards, and then I'm also going to be using these Moonology cards as well. I think everyone's at some point seen these, but they're really just kind of good moon cards. I thought it would be really appropriate for this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, we're looking at the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Spirit, what do you have in store for this time for the fire signs, for the full moon coming on July 16th? What does fire signs need to know at this time? And as I'm shuffling, I do have the energy of a male that's coming forward. I feel this male, very strong energy with him. I feel like he has a little bit of a strong personality at times, and I feel like it just sort of, it creates, the energy I'm getting from him is that at times, because of his strong sort of dominant energy, it creates ripples in relationships, and I feel like it's a little bit misguided in some ways, meaning the feeling of, I don't always intend to cause some of the dramatics that I do, but I feel like this is something that he was aware of, and it's something that has influenced other people as well. And I feel like with that, this might be someone who's listening, this might be an influence of you, or you might have someone in your life, or have had someone in your life that was much like this, that's crossed over, that would have had this sort of male dominance energy. And I just feel like there was times where it was, I'm also getting the sense of, because of the energy with this individual, it was always sort of difficult to honor the emotions that the individual was feeling. So, for example, in our home, we don't show emotions, and so therefore I've learned my whole life to not show emotions. That's an example of a scenario that would be occurring. But I just feel there's something about kind of the energy of this individual is acknowledging the fact that there was a the byproduct of the environment that this person created was conducive for people to hold back their true emotions and what they felt. And I feel like there's a reason he's coming forth to represent that emotion and the feeling of that. And so with that, I'll ask Spirit here, give me a body card related to the body. So I'm going to do like I did before, body, mind, and spirit. So this is just anything related to the full moon activity that's going to be occurring and what you need to know from a fire sign perspective regarding that. So Spirit, what does fire sign needs to know about the body connection at this time regarding the full moon? Okay, so we get opportunity here. And so it's interesting. Okay, I already love it. I already have a sense of what I'm the man is referring to here, and so this just sort of validates. I feel like in particular this goes back to, you know, with this full moon, this whole thing mentioned about kind of the path of where people want to go, what they want to do, and I just feel like there's, you know, sometimes there might be an old school way of thinking of this is what you have to do to make money. This is if you're struggling in life, then that means that you're working hard and you're doing the right thing. But the feeling of this, that's sort of being an outdated model, and the feeling of it's about pursuing your passions and the money will follow. That's a really strong thing that I get. And this man's coming forward is the acknowledgement of like creating this sort of belief system within you, or maybe with the family, and so it may be sort of a lineage thing to where this was sort of passed down, and so the feeling of this is how we have to be and this is how it has to be, and it doesn't, and he's just acknowledgement of not having to be that. And so what I get around the opportunity is I feel like there's an opportunity that's coming forward, or there's something where you know what you want to do. There's certain things that your heart's been calling to, and this doesn't mean that you have to up and quit whatever you're doing that's actually creating a financial opportunity for you or income for you, but it does mean that you have to be going in the path of your passions. And so whatever that looks like, if there's something that you're really drawn to, there's something that calls to your heartstrings, it's really about pursuing that opportunity and just, you know, getting your feet wet, putting yourself out there. Maybe there's something really uncomfortable that you would have to do. You know, I can tell you so many quotes right now about, you know, passion and fear and courage, and just really, I just feel like this is really important for you during this time. And I would encourage you to, as I'm saying that, I just feel like Brene Brown, she has a lot of amazing YouTube videos out there on just sort of courage and really kind of letting go of your fear, and that's where, you know, you kind of have the breakthrough. So I feel like that's really important. And that's related to this opportunity that's coming. And so let me move on here to the mind and see what we've got from a mind perspective. So Spirit, what does the fire sign need to know about the mind connection within this full moon? Okay, perfect. So the receiving. So the biggest thing I feel like with this is the acknowledgement of Spirit hears your calling of your heart's passion, but I feel like it's received on both ends. The acknowledgement of what your passions are and what you want to do and the directions you want to go. And this might even just be, this doesn't have to be a vocation. This could be something to where it's like, you know what, I want to move. I want to pick up and move. I want to move to this. I want to do something crazy, something that really calls to your heart's passion. And this is the encouragement of you being able to do that, but the receiving of this acknowledgement of this, that it can be made. And I feel like Spirit's lining up to help you. And in particular, as I'm saying that energy of this man's coming forward, because I feel like there's just been some things, belief systems that have been created, and this feeling of sort of helping wash those away and really kind of just jump into that space without sort of letting go in the fear of what that might look like. And so that's really kind of what I'm getting with that. This is around passions. I just feel really strong about that, and the feeling of following your heart's calling and and just kind of letting go of the inhibitions around what the expectations of others or anything. And as I'm saying, this one just popped up here. So spirit, spirit around summer. So what I'm getting around this, so I know we're in the northern hemisphere, we're in summer right now, but I feel like there's something around summer. So this, I actually feel this, okay, so you might be starting this. This is part of, you know, we have the full moon coming up, so I feel like this is kind of the beginning of when this is coming. And so the question of like when, what's going to happen, but I feel like it's a cycle, and so it's going, I feel like this is all kind of bringing about during this phase. And I feel like it might take you into next summer to where you really kind of meet the fruition of what that looks like. But I feel the wheels of motion are beginning, and you just kind of have to start the process and go into it. Let me just see if there's anything else they have to say. Okay. And I'm also getting something about, like, I'm not sure if there's there'd be traveling involved as well, like a car or something, but I'm seeing travel, car, movement in that direction. So I don't know if this is like going to visit someone or what this is, but I feel like there's something about traveling or moving, but traveling is a big thing here as well. So there's something about, this might even be an opportunity to go overseas. This might be an opportunity to go travel to another space that you haven't been, or about taking that opportunity and not worrying about, okay, well, can I technically afford this? It's really about pursuing that heart passion and just kind of going, you know, going in that direction. And so I'm going to pull the final card here for the fire signs for the moon, and we'll see what we have in store here. So Spirit, what does the fire signs need to know with this new moon, or this full moon, excuse me, that's coming? What are some things that they should be aware of in helping them understand what's the elements of that's occurring at this time? Okay, so I'm going to, okay, there we go. All right, perfect. Okay. A fiery climax approaches, full moon in Aries. So, wow. So I just feel like with this, this is interesting. So Aries, full moon, it's fire sign. It's interesting. So I just feel like there is, this goes back to, let me just, hold on before I say anything. I want to just check in with Spirit here. Okay. Yeah, this goes back to, there's this passion, this fiery climax. I feel like this really intense energy around whatever this is. And this new moon, sorry, I keep saying that, full moon, is really encouraging you to move in that direction. I keep saying new moon for a reason. I feel like there's a connection there as well. Because I know it's the full moon, but I keep saying new moon. And so I feel like there's something perhaps after the full moon with the new moon that will be coming up. And so that will also be creating some of this change as well. So pay attention to that, because there's a reason why that keeps coming up. And so let me just see if there's Spirit has anything else to say. Okay. And this man, I say young man, I feel like he's he's an older man, but he's also, there's acknowledgement of a female as well. And I'm getting the number 15. I'm not sure what that was. I was also getting the number 17 earlier, but I was a little bit dismissive of it just because of the fact that that's kind of close, you know, to July 16th, but I was getting a 17 as well. And so there's something around 17, and then I'm getting 15 as well. And then, let me see here. Okay. Yeah, so I just feel like this is something, I feel like this would be a fatherly type influence for you. It might be someone who was like, he carries the energy of that, or it may be someone who was a friend that had father-like qualities. And so the biggest thing I get for you fire signs is really this opportunity that's coming. It feels really good. I feel like there's opportunity. This is something that you've been wanting, you've been thinking about, it's been on your mind. And this, I mean, perfect card received here. It really correlates really well to the mind. It's something you've been thinking about. But the biggest thing I would say, fire signs, for this full moon that's coming is to just, there's something really important for you to sort of release your inhibitions and do. Whatever this is, do it. Let go of the fear of what might happen and just pursue this opportunity. that there needs to be physical movement in which to do that. There's going to be something you have to, because I feel like your mind is in the right space, but now it's taking that step forward so that these things can happen for you. And I just really feel like this is going to kind of bring things to another accumulation that you haven't seen before. And that was like, wow, why did I wait so long to do that? So I hope that makes sense. Hopefully, leave a comment if it does, if it makes sense to you, and best of luck to you with this full moon. And now we'll be covering off on the air signs, and this is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And Spirit, what messages do you have for the air signs for this full moon that's coming up? What are some of the changes that they're going to be seeing? What are some of the things that they should be made aware of at this time regarding the energy of the full moon? Okay, and as I'm shuffling the cards here, I do have an energy of a female. She's coming through with a larger energy, I'll say it that way, as well as I don't know if she would have been like almost like a matriarch of the family, but I feel like she would have had some stature or clout in terms of like the family. And I feel like there's a connection with food. Cooking was really important to her. She's coming through with an apron, but she was a bit crass in her, like she's actually showing me a rolling pin as well. So I'm not sure what that is, but I feel like she's kind of like that classic. I don't know if that's Italy or what that is, but I feel like there's a connection with Italy as well. But she's just this grandmother energy that's coming through pretty strong, and yeah, so she's going to help with delivering the message here. And so let me see if she has anything specific. Okay, she's telling me to just pull the cards here. Okay, so again, body, mind, and spirit. What does spirit have in store for the air signs for this full moon? What do they need to know at this time? Okay, perfect. Okay, communication. Aha, there we go. That explains why she was not. Nope, pull the card. Okay, so communication. So body, communication, biggest thing I'm getting with this in terms of the full moon energy is speaking your truth, speaking up for what you want, really vocalizing that. Oftentimes when people, they kind of are at that space, what do I want, where do I want to go, and why is it not happening? It's really about speaking up, whatever that is. And it may not be having to physically speak it, but it's speaking your truth within and honoring that, and not, not making apologies for what that is. And so I'm getting a lot of communication around that and speaking up for what this next step is, what you want to do, what are some of the things, and just owning that and saying it proud. And so, it's okay if you speak your truth and your voice cracks, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's just really owning where you're at, who you are, and where you want to go, and making no apologies for that. So that was the biggest thing I feel like with that, and which explains why she said, nope, I'm not going to speak it, you go ahead. And so it's the acknowledgement of, this is not about me speaking. This grandmother's coming forward and saying, it's not about me telling them what they need to do, it's about them doing that. And so so that's interesting, her way of kind of acknowledging that there. So yeah, I'm getting chills right now. She's just driving that home with me. I do get a heavy Italy, or there's some sort of like other country that I haven't actually been, but I'd love to, and so it's a little difficult to use specific references there because I just don't have those. But I do feel like a really strong influence there. I see water as well, and so she's just someone that cooking was really important to her. I actually don't even know if she wore anything other than an apron, if I'm being honest. So let me see. Okay, Spirit, what does air signs need to know from a mind perspective at this time? Okay, so balance. All right, perfect. Okay, so with this, I get the sense of kind of trying to find balance in your current situation. I feel like there's some things where I have a lot of okay, got it. Thank you. So they're telling me that this feeling of not always being able to kind of speak up or own that path, there's also a feeling of having to please others and the balance to that. So I feel like there's some things where I feel like there's an influence of, and I know this is the number 5, but I'm also like getting a connection. It feels like there is a 5 as well. I don't know if this is family or if this is siblings, if this is a larger family. I'm not sure what that is, but I feel like there's some things around the influence of a family and the feeling of needing balance around that. Because if I was to really kind of speak up, how would that influence others? I feel like that's really strong, and there's a little bit of a concern around what that would look like if you were to say, you know what, turns out I want to go do this. How would others react? What would they think about that? And so finding balance in the situation and in a way that it can work for many people. So, there's some certain things that we sort of keep within us that we don't always communicate out. And then when we finally kind of speak that truth, you find others that align with that energy as well. And so I feel like it's only in your best interest in which to do that so that you can bring that balance to life. Because even, and I'm getting this now as well, even one of those things where, you need a little help in life, you're in a space where it's like, look, I could really use some help. Maybe it's at a situation out of work, maybe it's like doing some sort of ride share, maybe it's something where, I want to learn a new skill, but I don't have a mentor, and maybe it's just a matter of kind of taking that on and asking for the help and kind of letting go of that fear of just saying, you know what, I want to grow, but I need to find a balance and ask for someone to help, ask for that guidance, and that sort of creates the balance within the mind, because it's the feeling of not being so overwhelmed. I get that song, I get by with a little help from my friends. Like, use the people in your life. Like, there's an equal exchange. And not use them, but like work with them, because there's times where they'll need you as well. So I feel like it's really important to, if you're in a space where you need something, to speak it, say it, don't hold back, because people don't know what you need unless you say it. You can't get what you want unless you ask for it. And so that's so important right now. I think oftentimes, and I know, men and women do this, right? The fear of asking for help. Does it make me look weak? What does that look like to others? But when you ask for help, that's what we're here for. We're here to help other people. When you ask for help, you create space so that others can offer that guidance to you. And so it's so very important to do that. And so that's the biggest thing I'm getting with that. And this, again, as I'm saying this female energy, it's like the feeling of like, we're here, we're all here to help each other, right? We are all one. We are all connected. We are all family. Even though we may not have the same last names, we're all connected. And so, looking to your neighbor, your friend, your family, anyone, maybe a perfect stranger, maybe there's someone that you find that you can help, and maybe someone lends a hand to you, and it's about processing those things. So that's the biggest thing I'm getting there. So Spirit, what do you have from a spiritual perspective for the air signs? What do they need to know at this time from a spiritual perspective? Okay. All right, perfect. Grounding. All right. So, okay, so this just takes me, this is interesting because I feel like there's a couple things here as I'm tuning into this energy here. So a couple things. I feel like this goes back to family and grounding, the feeling of kind of leaning on the family or the connection with that. That's always kind of a strong, solid. It's the number one, the root chakra. But it's really about sort of getting grounding. I mean, those two couldn't go more perfect together. I mean, grounding and balance. This is all about kind of getting centered, finding your balance within this space. Because I feel, as I'm saying that, I feel my energy it's scattered right now. I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm overwhelmed with whatever is happening in my life, and I just need to get grounded and create some balance. But in order to do that, I need to speak up and ask for help. I need to set my intentions, or even with myself, set standards with myself. Look, I'm not doing this anymore. I recently had a situation where I kind of feel like I overcommitted to some things, and I'm like, you know what? Bad on me, but guess what? I'm going to speak up and say, you know what, I made a mistake, but I'm going to make it right. I'm going to find the balance in my life. I'm going to ground. And so it might be a situation like that, and that's okay. It's okay to say, you know what, it turns out I can't do what I thought I can do, and maybe it's not I need help. Maybe it's I need to take a step back and do some self-care for myself. And so I just feel like that's kind of really the biggest theme for you. And as I'm saying that, I do want to pull another card and just see what else Spirit has to say for you at this time. Okay. I don't know if there's an Alma or a connection with that as well, but I feel like that's interesting. I'm hearing that as well. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, so the wish card. So I feel like this just kind of goes back, hold on one second, let me see, I'm getting some information here. Okay. Okay, so I have to tell you, this feels very important in terms of, this doesn't feel like an isolated thing, right? The full moon brings about things that like we've kind of carried with us for a while, and the feeling of like, what do we need to purge, what do we need to deal with, what comes to a head. And this feeling of like, the feeling of like, oh, I wish I had more time, I wish I could do some of these things I want to do in life, I wish I could kind of da-da-da-da-da, whatever that is. And it's the feeling of this, once you kind of get into this space where you communicate and it enables you to find balance and grounding, it frees up for whatever this wish is. And so I feel like there's something that is on the horizon in terms of an opportunity, but for that breakthrough to occur, for that wish to be fulfilled, this is really important that you kind of speak up and own whatever that looks like. And so make no apologies for it, but just really kind of own your voice within that, and just say it. There's, you know, it feels very strong for you, and there might be an influence around family, there might be an influence around friends, it might be a work situation, but you really have to kind of speak up, and maybe you're taking on too much work and taking on other people's work, and maybe it becomes a conversation. You know what, turns out I'm not okay with this, or I'm okay with it, but in order for me to, I need some help, I need someone to come in and help with the balancing, and then turns out maybe you get a promotion out of it. So you know, a lot of times circumstances will continue to play out until you use that voice box and really kind of speak your truth and say, you know what, I'm not okay with this, and here's why. And it doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be a situation where it's aggressive or, you know, emotional. Sometimes it's just like, well, why didn't you say something? And so the person might end up saying that to you after this, after you speak their truth. But this is, to me, is the biggest thing for you during this full moon. So let me pull a Moonology card here and see what the moon has to say for you at this time. Okay, perfect. Let me see her. All right. Okay. A time for healing. Okay. So what I get with this is just really, this goes back to here, right? The healing, the balance, the grounding. To me, this is kind of getting centered within yourself, and just once you speak this truth, healing has to occur. Nothing else can occur but healing. Once you speak up, a healing will occur, and it might look different. It might be a situation where the healing occurs and someone has to leave your life. Maybe the healing occurs and maybe you get closer as a result of you communicating. But I'm telling you, whatever this is, it feels very strong that to be able to get to this space and the time for healing, it's really important that you communicate whatever these words are that need to be said at this time. So air signs, I hope that was helpful for you, and best of luck to you with this full moon. Namaste. I just wanted to pull some cards and see what we've got for the various signs, and this will cover, again, the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, and let's see what Spirit has to say for you at this time. Okay. Okay, so water signs, as I'm tuning in, I do get an energy of a young man. Okay, and I feel like there's the feeling of connecting with the youth element of yourself, and the feeling of bringing forward this element of youth. That's kind of really strongly what he's bringing forth. But I also feel like there's a connection to, I feel like there might be someone in your life where it's the feeling of needing to sort of connect on a deeper level, or play, right? Play, have fun with the energy. But it's the feeling of, I get a sense of, you know, oftentimes we take for granted the young people in our lives, and we get so busy, and we just really kind of focus on things that maybe don't matter. Maybe we have jobs that keep us really busy. Maybe we, you know, we're focusing on things like that. And this young man's coming forward as to sort of acknowledge that this kind of reconnecting with, maybe you have a child that doesn't always, you know, get the best of you, so to speak, or maybe you've lost a child, and it's the feeling of, you know, missing the connection of what that is. And so this young man's coming forward as to acknowledge that, and the feeling of needing to play. And so, okay, so the body wish here. Okay, so this is interesting. So the air signs got this as well, as a clarifier card, but this is coming from a body perspective, and it's interesting. There's a young man there, and wow, there's the wish card. I'm just now seeing this as I'm connecting with spirit here. So kind of self-explanatory based off the energy of the young man that I was just getting, this feeling of really being playful and kind of just getting to a space where, you know, we tend to get into the adulting where it's like life just becomes a drudgery, no more fun. We just we set the wheels in motion and we just kind of press on. But this is really about kind of having fun and getting into that space of just more opening up. And what are you wishing for? What are, you know, as kids, I think we all kind of wishing wells and did, you know, you throw a coin into the fountain, and I just feel like this is so much around this energy right now for the full moon, for the water signs. It's really about connecting and just kind of letting your inhibitions go and just really having fun. And you know, maybe that's you going and getting out some of your toys from your childhood. Maybe that's going and buying some. I mean, Amazon sells everything. Maybe you can go, you know, maybe it's strawberry shortcake. Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, Starburst or something. I think I'm thinking, the little Cabbage Patch Girl things, or maybe it's like the Mr. Potato Head, whatever Operation, any of those little games that kind of bring you back to the space. Jax, that comes up as well. The feeling of connecting with these sort of fun elements that like take you back to a child, there where we feel like, well, yeah, we played those games a lot, but go back to it. You know, sometimes it's just a matter of those things kind of bringing you back to a space where it helps like re-center your energy and helps you kind of look at life from a childlike perspective, the creative side, and just be more open to those things. So, Spirit, what does the water signs need to know from a mind perspective at this time during this full moon? Okay. All right, perfect, blocked. Okay. So the blocked. Okay, so what I get immediately with this is it just kind of goes to the fact that there's this feeling of blocked creativity. So as I was talking about creativity and connecting with that, there's a feeling of being blocked around that. Like, what do I want to do? Or maybe I feel like a little uninspired. And this is really about the energy being blocked, because I feel like as I'm saying that, I get the heavy feeling of kind of having to be, you know, an adult, caregiver, take care of everyone else. And this really feels like it's important time for you to take care of yourself, because it's like you've really got good at sort of checking the boxes and here's what's expected, here's what I have to do, and therefore you kind of lost sight of the playtime. So I feel like that's really important to reconnect. And so, you know, getting out of that mental block in terms of the lack of creativity, and really just go paint by numbers, go do something to really kind of connect with your creativity, with your childlike, that inner child within you, that really just sort of wants to come alive again, and just sort of go swinging on swings, like just open up yourself to. Because I feel like it's not so much the fact of doing it, but it creates inspiration for other things. It's really important that when you do that, you sort of create space for things that it's like, oh my gosh, you start to think about things that you had forgotten about, and maybe it inspires action or activity. But I just feel like I do feel like it's going to open up a space and create an awareness of other things and other passions, and it just might ignite some things for you. So Spirit, what does the water signs need to know from a spiritual perspective at this time for this full moon? Okay, so I've got these two things here. Okay, interesting. Okay, so let's see, we've got lessons in communicating. Okay, so these popped out together, so we'll keep both of them here. So let me just tune into this here specifically. Okay, got it. So as I'm kind of tuning into that specifically, I hear Spirit acknowledging the fact of, so whenever I get this card in terms of the lessons, this is a feeling of like, I feel like there may have been some situations where from a young age you were expected to kind of start becoming an adult. Maybe you didn't get to partake in your youth. Maybe you were expected to be more of a parent. Maybe you had an older sibling where you, or I'm sorry, a younger sibling, like, you know, maybe this little boy, maybe that's the energy of him coming forward. Maybe you had a, you know, a younger sibling, or maybe you had to take care of other kids as well. But it's this feeling of a lot of maybe some, I don't want to say burdens, but the feeling of responsibility that's being put upon you. And so I feel like you learned a lot through that. I feel like there was a lot of maturity that came as a result of your experiences in your past. But I feel like there's some things that it's having to kind of reframe those things, and not so much the sadness or loss or regret of you know, those situations or circumstances, but it's the acknowledgement of the lessons and the opportunities that they afforded you, and being able to kind of reframe that and communicate, you know what, this is what I want to do. These are the things I want to get back into having fun. I want to be creative. I want to open myself up to things and not feel like I have to be so guarded or act a certain way or be certain things to certain people. And so I feel like that's really strong as well. I'm going to ask for clarification on the communication. As I'm doing that, I feel like I need to pull another card here just to make sure that I'm clear on what that is. Okay, Spirit, what does the water signs need to know as it relates to communication? What specifically do they need to communicate at this time during this full moon? Oh, winter. Okay, interesting. Let me see here. Okay. So, that's interesting. I have to tell, like, as I'm kind of tuning into the energy, I'm asking spirits for specifics, but I get the sense of something, I actually get the sense of there's being some things unknown right now, to where this is their way of showing me that there's certain things where it's like, well, I don't know what I need to say. I don't know what I need to do. And that's the energy of what I'm getting. And I feel like the connection here, I feel like you're in this space where you may not know what that is. It's kind of like the person who they've done what they should. And it's like, well, now I want to go into this space, but I don't know. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to have fun again. I need to get reconnected with that. And so I feel like as a result of kind of this space and unblocking yourself and kind of redirecting, reframing the experiences that you've had, you'll be able to better communicate and articulate your goals and what you want, your creativity. And this doesn't have to be actually going to someone and saying, hey, this is what I want. When you can communicate, you can do affirmations and kind of set those intentions, and that's really what it's about to me. This is not necessarily about telling someone, you know, what they need to know. If you can't really communicate or vocalize or understand what your needs are in terms of your passions and whatnot, then you can't really affirm them and bring about more of what that is. So I would just say for you at this time, it's really important to be doing some seeking in terms of the lessons of the past and kind of clearing those out, unblocking those energies, so that you can get to this space of being kind of the childlike wonderment and really kind of that creative element of yourself. So that's the biggest thing I'm getting there with that. And I'm just getting the acknowledgement from this young man as well. I feel like that's the biggest thing that needs to be understood. And there may have even been someone who lost a child as well. Because I feel a couple different connections here with this young man that's coming forward. Okay, so Moonology card. Let's see what Spirit has to say regarding the Moonology here. Okay, the answers. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Okay, I'm a little surprised. Okay, oh my gosh. Okay, so So the answers you need are coming. Full moon in Gemini. Okay, well, the full moon in Gemini is in December, which is the winter. So I'm just saying. So just know that, so in the Northern Hemisphere, December is when the winter is. And so that just validates everything that I said. This is not going to be this is part of your human experience. This is something that you have to go through. The answers are coming, they are coming, and I feel like there's clarity coming for you in the winter time, but just know that this is all part of this, and this feels divine. This doesn't feel like, this is good stuff. And so I'm super excited for you guys, the water signs. This will be very interesting to see how this unfolds, and it'll be interesting in August. But so I hope that helps. I feel like just keep on keeping on. It's coming. You're doing the work. Go inward. Really kind of explore these lessons because they're for your growth. This is all good. It's all for your growth, and this is where it ultimately leads you in this physical body. And so just know that it's coming your way. So I hope that helps. Now. Hi Earth signs, this is Heather, and I will be giving you your full moon forecast, the full moon for Capricorn, July 16th. We will see what Spirit has in store for you at this time. So, okay, as I'm shuffling the cards, I do have two male energies that are coming forward. I feel like there would be, I'm not sure if these are brothers or kind of like brothers from other mothers, but I just feel like there's some two male kind of energies here. Kind of macho, cool kids, cool kind of energy here. They're coming forward here. There may even be a connection. Let's see here. There may be even a connection through the mother. I'm not sure what this is, but that's what I'm getting as well around that. And I am getting there may be a romantic connection as well. As I'm shuffling the cards, I'm getting a pain in my physical hand right now, and that's usually my indication of a cord that's attached to that situation, and so that's what I'm getting. And so let me just keep going here. And I apologize. I think I said Earth signs, so we've got Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So I just want to make sure that I said that. So perfect. When I get into channeling, I just sort of tune out and forget my manners, I guess. So all right. So Spirit, what does Earth sign need to know for this full moon at this time regarding the body? The body connection at this time, Spirit. Okay. Okay, harvest. All right. So immediately what I get on this one here, and actually let me retune into these men that are here and just sort of connect with their energy. Okay. So this is interesting. I do, as I'm connecting, and so when I get I mentioned the cords in the hand and the feeling of that, there's a feeling of relationships attached to this as well. I mean, I know that this moon is not necessarily around kind of not necessarily, I think a lot of things can be covered, but there's something about the romantic aspect of it, or the relationships that I get around this. And I feel like this, with the harvest card here, this is really about, harvesting your crops. It's about receiving kind of the reward of, what you've sown over the course of time. And so this is what I get. I feel like at this time, it feels really good. I feel like there's certain things that are coming into your life. I feel like there might be awarenesses. I feel like there might be change in relationships, but I feel really strong about just kind of things for you at this time. And I just feel like there's some things harvesting. I think there's some good things coming with attached to this full moon. And so I get that represented with these two men that's here. And I feel like these guys are buddies. I don't know if they would have a connection to anywhere around ocean or beach, but I'm getting that as well. There might have a brotherly energy, but that's what I'm getting there as well. Let me just keep, okay, so this card here. Okay, blocked. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I've been shuffling these really well, and this actually came out in the same space. Is it the same space for the water signs? Yeah, it was actually. Okay, interesting. So the block card. So what I get, oops, apologies here. So in terms of the blocked energy, okay. So I just feel like around this full moon, this feeling of like going on the treadmill, going on, the hamster wheel, and this feeling of like, gosh, when's this ever going to change? When's it going to end? And this is Spirit just saying, look, it's coming, it's coming. I actually don't feel like the current space, that there's a huge block. That's not the energy that I'm getting. I feel like I'm getting there's something around the transition of this state with this full moon. And so there might be some sort of epiphany that occurs. There might be some sort of breakthrough. But I feel like this is what we're working through, and the harvest is coming. The physical harvest is coming of the mind being unblocked. So to me, you can't really harvest when you're in a blocked state, but I feel like this is what we're pushing through. And so I feel like that's the biggest theme for the earth signs for this full moon. And so Spirit, what do you have for the earth signs from a spiritual perspective? What do they need to know on the spiritual level at this time? Okay. Expecting. Okay. Okay, so that just kind of goes, I think I just said that a minute ago, the feeling of like, okay, when's this going to happen? When's this going to come? And this is really where you're at. It's the expectation, waiting, wanting it coming. And I feel like this is Spirit just saying it's coming. The harvest is coming. And so just, it feels like there's some transition. There's some things that are occurring. And there's something with these two men. I'm not sure what this is. Again, I feel like there might be an attachment to relationships included. But it definitely feels like there's that connection with that. And so let me just pull another clarifier card here to see specifically what Spirit has to say as it relates to this harvest. Like what is this awesomeness that's coming? What's coming for the earth signs? This amazing energy that it feels like is coming in for the full moon here. Okay, free Spirit. Okay. I feel like there's something around, I don't know if this is liberation, and this doesn't have to be an ending of a relationship, but it can be a transition of a relationship. And actually, as I'm saying that, if I recall correctly, Taurus had, for July, it was about redefining relationships. Spirit's reminding me of that. I usually don't remember that type of detail, but I'm getting that, and they're bringing that up again. And it feels like this might be kind of the accumulation of what that looks like. And so in July, it was the redefining of that. And I feel like there's sort of the breakthrough that's occurring as a result. And I feel like it's creating a lot of free space for you. This, you know, the feeling of being free. And it doesn't have to be an ending of a relationship, but it's sort of kind of the redefining of what that looks like. And sometimes it's about kind of setting new expectations or having breakthroughs in relationships. Sometimes, I mean, you know, A Course in Miracles, for any of you that study it, a breakthrough is simply a shift in perspective. And a miracle can occur, and I feel like there's this feeling of, oh my gosh, when's it going to come? I'm expecting this is frustrating to me, but I'm showing that the harvest is coming in this physical life, and that it's going to create kind of this free energy and space for you during this full moon. So it feels really good for your energy, but just be patient. I know that's, again, one of those things you want to roll your eyes at, but I just feel like it's coming in the direction, so just be open to that. Okay, so Spirit, what does earth signs need to know for this full moon? What's the full moon energy that they have in store for them at this time during this full moon? Okay, that's a little difficult to pull. Let me just see. Okay, this one's popping out here. Okay, actually I got two, so I'm just going to honor that. Okay, so, oh my gosh, that's, seriously, I couldn't have, wow. So yeah, everything I just said, don't let your past hold you back. So it's that feeling of when's this going to happen, this feeling of block in the past. I feel like there might be a connection with relationship. This is the don't let your past hold you back. So I feel like that's really kind of prominent for you. And oh, look at that, there's the Taurus. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, what I was talking about earlier with the Taurus video that was there. If you haven't already seen it, go check it out for July, because those energies can still be in effect. But it's really about not letting the past hold you back. And so that could be fear of, you know, this can't be changed. We're in a block. This is not going to, you know, the feeling of like this won't change. Every day, a miracle can occur by a shift in perspective, and it takes one person. So you might be in a relationship where you're feeling off about it. They might feel off about you, and it simply requires a shift in perspective for everything to change. And so just know that it's really important. And there you go. What the next card here that was already pulled, expect powerful change. And so new moon eclipse. So Yeah, I just feel like this is really big. This is really good things coming. This harvest, it's coming in, powerful changes, bringing through this light, free-spirited energy. Oops, oh well, you got it anyway. So this free-spirited energy, and I just feel like really good things are coming, and it's beautiful. I mean, I think this just says it all. This just kind of summarizes exactly, don't let the past keep you blocked. Open up, be that free spirit. The acknowledgement, Spirit's acknowledging that you're kind of expecting and you've been waiting for this, but the harvest is coming in this physical life. And so just honoring that, the powerful change is coming. So hopefully that was helpful, air signs. How exciting for you. It sounds like you've got some amazing growth that's occurring, and you know, that's part of the human experience. I think sometimes it's like, ugh, you know, growth, but it's all good. It just makes you stronger and wiser. And so, you know, others will lean on you and look to your guidance, to where at some point you'll be in that seat and, you know, the wisdom spot, you'll be in the throne helping others through their progression as well. So hopefully that was helpful, and good luck maneuvering the energies of the full moon. Namaste.